Being here, obviously, disappointing, road loss here on Saturday night, and you go back and watch the film. What I said after the game, really showed up true, and on the video, just some huge missed opportunities, and I thought our guys played hard. I mean, when you come out of a game like that on the road, so much that goes with. Momentum swings, emotion. I mean, that was a highly emotional team that we played. Both teams, fighting for victory, and we had our shots, we had our opportunities. We weren't able to capitalize on them. Had some inopportune, mistakes that showed up. Just a couple penalties that were that put us in challenging situations. But for all of it, we got to show up and we got to be able to make those plays in those moments, and we got to continue to, as a coaching staff, put our players in the best situations possible. I thought we had some good looks at it, and then obviously there were some things that as a staff where we got to continue to grow and got to be better in those situations. And there's things that as a football program we take out of it, and it's just you get one shot at it, and you give credit to the opponent for the plays that they did make, and some of the calls that they had and different things that they did. But I believe in this team. I believe in our capability, and it's belief is great, and we still got to go out there and we got to be able to execute in those moments. And there's some uncharacteristic things, the drops. I mean, that's not been this team this year, and we've showed up, on the road. It showed up in a time where we needed. We needed plays to be made, and but it's one of those things that you got to be able to work through it, and obviously it wasn't good enough for us to get a victory in the way that we played, ultimately the way that we coached, because it all comes down to it together. And this team, it's a team of great individuals. I do have a lot of confidence in them, and the urgency of preparation from last night. The ownership of last night, of you coming back, and we got back in at 3 o'clock in the morning, and came to meetings, practice, and whether it's the young guys that you got their lab work, or the guys when we got back on the field. I mean, there was an absolute sense of urgency for improvement, and to lose a game like that on the road is it's highly disappointing, and but where you go from it, we have. This week we're back at home. We play military appreciation game. Last game for you seniors. Here in Doak Campbell Stadium. And I have high expectation for how we're going to play, what it's going to look like. What these guys are going to do, and their continued growth. And it's like I said, I believe in them, and I think we've shown high level of capabilities on both ends. And we've got to be more consistent. We've got to continue to push. Last time we were in this stadium, we played at a really high level, and this is a team that feeds off of. They do feed off our fan base. They feed off of that energy. And even there on the road, I thought in all things there Saturday night, the mindset that they had. I mean, it was energetic in pregame. I mean, all things. We had some missed tackles there defensively on that first drive. I think we had six or seven missed tackles on the first drive, which allowed them to go down. And you had that opening drive touchdown. And I thought our guys settled in and played. Big picture, played well defensively against a talented offense, but there were still some plays that were left out there, and plays that we got to make in situations. But we got to have great energy here this week. I know guys are excited to being back at home in our last home contest, and we've got to have our best game show up. And at the end of the day, it still goes through how we prep. The things that we're willing to pour in this week, and you've got from how we started last night. I've got high expectations for what that'll be.
It seemed like in that game, as you mentioned, the drop passes, also a missed field goal, a fumble. Those things kind of can be deflating sometimes. And How do you get to the team to where they don't become deflating and guys rise up?
Yeah, I mean, and that's where it's, we got inside the 10-yard line, we had the fumble, and you start, opening drive, they take it down, whatever it was, 12, 13 play drive, they score a touchdown, we get down, we had a drop pass on the first drive, we get down inside the 10, there next, when we had great field position with the turnover, there were some things that just they did stack up, and it's so much, and it's been our, it's been a point of emphasis of just trying to, hey, let the play be the play. And, if it's a good result, bad result, man, then you got to have all focus on the next one, and you'll go control what you have. And it wasn't just one player. It wasn't just one position. And that's where, there's times that, a guy can get in his own head, sometimes you'll see that dip in performance, or you'll see it, and, sometimes it's just get on the sideline and, taking a deep breath and going out there, but we saw that kind of scattered over, multiple positions with different opportunities, and you have to control that. And this is this is a team that it's. I know how bad they want it, and there's the thing where you talk about do you press, do you try, are you, and ultimately, I mean, there's go out there and have fun playing the game, trusting the training of what you've done and the positions you put yourself in. You get to it, whether it's a small fundamental of an exchange, whether it's watching the ball all the way to the tuck, whether it's just make sure we're tracking where we need to track in open field, trying to make a tackle. The leverage that you have in coverage, those things. I mean, it's just that's where the training that has to override everything else, more than the crowd, more than the emotion, more than what even the last play just was. You gotta pour yourself into that in the moment, and I do believe in this team. And you saw guys that even in the course of the game where there was something bad that happened, and they did come back and have a positive play or a good follow-up. I've seen guys even throughout the course of the season where there's maybe some games where it wasn't their best to see the follow-up in that. And so, that's our growth as individuals, growth as a team, and something that we got to be better at, and especially on the road. I mean, that's something that we've seen, in the last two road trips specifically. We have not answered the call as well as we need to in those moments, and we've just had a critical mistake or a critical moment where things didn't go the way that we needed it to go, and we got to be better. We got to be better with that.
On the, I guess it was the high kickoff after you guys scored to make it 24-10. What was the desired execution?
Yeah, I mean, we were just a little off on placement. I mean, from what we had worked for, what we seen, what we were trying to potentially get the ball to the ground to see if we could have a scramble or a dash to it, and it was just a little bit of a mishit. And as you go through it, Jake's been really good. Obviously on kickoffs, being able to put the ball through the end zone, and it's something that we worked through the week, and it was really good. It felt very confident in that. Even in that situation, probably got the best look, because of the potential of an onside. So I mean, it was a good window to it, but just a little bit of a mishit. Their guy did a good job coming over and fair catching it, but just trying to get the ball to the ground, have an opportunity.
On the running back rotation, the use of depth, and also just the way guys seem to get in rhythm, is it a matter of fine-tuning that, maybe narrowing it down? Or?
Yeah, I mean that's something that that we're talking about, and as a staff, I mean we got a quality room of guys with diverse skills and talents. I mean, and I think we got to continue to push that, but also I think there's guys that have shown throughout the course of the season just the explosiveness, the capability of creating the big play, and still some guys that are growing. I mean, that's where, as you have good experience, you have guys that that have versatility, but then you also have youth, and this is when you look at this team. I mean, we've got some really talented young guys. I mean that are coming along, that are growing in who they and who they are, and what they're going to be. And so just as each of those days go by, each game goes by, I mean they're growing in their confidence and the consistency of their execution, and that's something that as that happens, I mean, the best player is going to play, and I think right now, all those guys that running back room can help this football team, and it might be in different areas, different spots, different things that we can do. And there's a great deal of competition that's happening in that room. But I think that, we're going to continue to push that, and as the productivity is shown, right, that we're going to continue to push in that area.
In a situation when you have a player that gets an emotional penalty, what goes into factoring whether or not you pull them out of the game for a little bit or keep them in? I know, like, Lewin got the personal foul, and then he stays in the game, and I think some people wonder.
I mean, I happened to be watching that one, and, you got two guys throw a punch. I mean, it's hand fighting, all that. Two guys throw a punch, a swing, whatever you want to call that at it, and, one guy gets called for it. Like, you can go back and watch as many plays as you want to play, and that's where control your emotions. You have to be in control of you. And, if we don't swing, maybe we get the penalty moving forward. You put yourself in jeopardy. And obviously that was the call that the official made. We've got to be in control of us, and that's where a young player, second year, highly emotional game. He's playing. Wayne plays his butt off. Like, I mean, you can go whether he has the ball, whether he doesn't have the ball. He is really putting everything that he has out there. And there's a couple plays just in that sequence. I mean, really in that sequence that were negative for us, and it's it's just one of those. It's a great teaching opportunity for him just to, even with all the emotion, take a deep breath and control you. And but there's times that if you see, I mean, there's some foolish penalties that have been made, and in past years that I've guys that have coached, and sometimes this year's years before, that you're going to get pulled. You're going to get pulled if you're doing something that is just blatantly negative to this team because of where you are in the state. When you get your butt out, and there's times that as guys work through it, those are all decisions that are made in the moment, and based off what I see and what I feel.
A question on Ricky Knight. Will he have the chance to return to the team this season? And if I guess what plays into
at this time, Ricky's he's suspended from all football related activities.
You mentioned like the struggles on the road. What goes into that? It's been, I think the last one was Florida in 2023 when you guys won on the road. Is there a focus thing? Is it just? Well,
I mean, you can't. You take each team as its own team, and so the team we were in 24, it's a different team in 25. You could try to tie all similarities to it. I mean, we weren't a very good team in 24. We didn't. There was no point that we really showed that we were a very good team, and there's a lot of things that contributed to that. A lot of things that were done as a result of that. And this team, this 25 team. I mean, we've shown capabilities on both ends. We've shown to be as good and to be able to play with and beat as good as there is out there, and then we've also shown the capability to play really bad. And when you look at our performance on the road. We've been in a couple of really close contests that like I said, the Virginia game. I mean, Virginia's a good team. They're one that's that has played at a high level throughout the course of the year. And I mean, we had our issues in turning the ball over. We had our issues in some things that kept us from winning. What was a very close game that went to overtime. Stanford, I think was Stanford and Clemson were arguing. Those are our two worst games offensively that we played, and there were, just some mistakes that showed up. Where you look at it. I mean, we're able to move the ball, but we're not scoring points with opportunities to be able to do that. And those are things that you've got to set yourself in the moment. And whether it's times that you get down in the red zone, I mean, you got to put touchdowns on the board. You know, we've had some missed opportunities, you know, field goals in both games, you know, in both those road games. We did miss a field goal coming out of the half after we just scored a touchdown, you know, to end the first half. You know, so we missed an opportunity for that little bump there. You know, and then, you know, as you sit there and you watch it, whether it's a negative play, a missed opportunity with a catch or a throw or whatever that might be. I mean, you've got to settle into yourself, and you know, that's where, you know, you sit there and you look at it, and we have our process of what we do, you know, on road games, and you know, I do think our guys, you know, are prepared for the moment. We've got to do a better job of executing in the moment, and this is something that, you know, you can go through a long stretch of times with certain teams, and you know, where you see great road victories and great times of being able to go out and, you know, but still each one has to be the one. And, you know, obviously we have not been good enough, you know, in our, you know, playing on the road this year. And, you know, we'll have a couple more road games that we're going to have to, you know, here in front of us, that we're going to have to address that. And we're going to have to, if there's modifications, adjustments, you know, continued things. I mean, as part of my conversations with one of my staff members here today is that, you know, we're going to continue to evaluate, to connect the dots so that our best performance is showing up. Last time we played in Doak Campbell Stadium, you know, we had one of our best performances of the year, where we played as a complete, you know, team and played complementary football. We did not carry that over into Clemson, and it cost us a game. And you know, there's still some good dynamics and good plays and good, you know, elements of the game that you can take out of it. But at the end of the day, we didn't do what was necessary to win. And so our next road contest, you know, we're gonna have to be better in that. But you know, we've got to learn the lessons from what we did, and you know, take that into having our best week this week, you know, as we play Virginia Tech.
I know you take it day to day, week to week, game to game. Fans don't. What do you think the trajectory is for this program heading into 2026? No, go ahead.
No, I mean, I've got an elite level confidence for what's ahead for this program, and you know, I believe in it. I believe in the guys. When I look at our roster, I see the guys. You know, and as I mentioned earlier, you know, we've won championships here. We've done that, you know, and to be a part of a staff that, you know, fixed it, you know, from when we first got in here to achieve at an elite level that is, as you know, one of the best times, you know, that this program has seen through a stretch of 19 straight games. I mean, it was, and you could find all the reasons. Well, this was closer. That's good, but we still got, you know, we did it. We lifted a trophy, and we were able to have success. 24 was an absolute, you know, it was a complete failure. And there's, like I said, there was reasons of, you know, things that, you know, of why we got to that point. And, you know, we lived it, we did it, you know, we made changes. And, you know, as this year, I think we are improved. I mean, when you look on both sides of the ball, I think we have taken positive steps. You know, but there's been some transitional elements of it that, you know, we've got to, we needed to be better. And I say that it's, you know, we've shown the capabilities on both sides. I mean, we played as good as anybody in the United States of America at points of this year, and we played as bad as probably anybody at times this year. And but this team is full of what I believe is very talented playmakers. I think it's full of very capable and talented coaches, and it's about our growth. And you know, the results, they matter. They absolutely matter. Every play, every game, all that we do. But for us, it's about progression. It's about going out there and getting better, going out there and you know, continuing to grow as a program. I mean, you look at a roster. I mean, we've got double-digit guys that are high school signees within their second year that are significant contributors for us. Like, those guys are going to continue to grow and ascend, and I see that. We've got some guys that are, you know, that are upperclassmen that I think have a chance to be, you know, some of the better you know, players on all of college football. And you know, next year will be a new team. And you know, I think, you know, you look at these last couple signing classes, the guys that they'll bring in. I mean, I think we've hit. I think we've really put ourselves in a great position for what the future holds in it. I think we're going to be able to bring some guys in this year's class. They're going to be able to make a great impact. And you know, so I really have. I've got elite expectations, and we're going to win a championship here in the very near future. That is not going to be this year. We did not. We have, as I told the team in fall camp, and I believed in a fall camp. I said, we are capable to do everything that you desire throughout this year, but we're capable of, giving other people opportunity. And, we've had 5 games that, a lot of close games, right, that, we have not done, and it's not one specific position, and we're not we haven't been good enough, right, across the board, and it's coaches, players, everybody involved. We haven't been good enough in where we are to get the job done to the level we wanted this season. And, we still have, 3 regular season games left, and I'm fully expecting to see our team go ascend and be better and to go get the job done and these opportunities that we have. But I've got a lot of confidence in where the program is heading and what's going to be the result of that, of these games, of these experiences for what the future holds. And, everywhere I've been, I've won a championship. Like I say, the one year at Pitt, we did not. But everywhere else, right, I've been as a player and as a coach. I know what it looks like, and I've actually done it, right? And that's so when I can sit there and say that with confidence, we are going to get this back. Fixed it once, we're going to fix it again. And, we're in the process of that fix now, and that's not good. What we've done is not to the standard of Florida State this year. I understand that. I fully am aware that, we've got to win the close games. We've got to be able to play our best, every opportunity that we step on that field. And the work, that's happening, right? The belief is there. And I'm not saying that just from our coach that's standing in front of you. I'm saying it from, I see these players, I see their heart, their investment. Last night, it was, that's where I can sit here and stand confidently in front of you. And, you're not at practice, and that's fine. That was my decision to make too, right? And ultimately, it's for those guys that are on this football team that every day they just need to focus on them. They need to focus on what they're doing. They don't need the outside perspective of who's doing this or who's doing that. That's why I chose to do that. They need today to where they can get to centralize all their focus on what is necessary for them to go get better, right? And you look across college football. Right, really talented teams where everybody's got an opinion on what they're going to do and where they're going to go and what they're going to be, and week in and week out, you see disappointing outcomes, right? And I'm fully aware the outside narrative around our team is not good. Around me is probably not good. That's fine. That will not affect the job that I'm going to show up and do. Right, the job I'm going to show up and do is I'm going to pour everything I have into this team with a championship expectation, right, for us to go grow and be better. And why I can say that? Because I've actually won a championship. I've done that. And we're going to do it again. And we're going to do it here. Right? And that might piss people off. So be it. Right? They'll be celebrating when we're hoisting a trophy. And it will be the belief and that I see from our players, the belief that I see from our coaches, the talent that I know that our players have, and the guys that are coming to be a part of this. I've got elite level confidence for what's ahead of us. And I know not everybody wants to hear that. I don't care. I know what it's going to be, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that I have. Also understand that it has not been good enough, right? And the results, they matter, right? But we're going to take that step, and we're going to get the job done.
Jabril, we saw got banged up in the game. How is he? And also, how did Shamar do as his role increased?
Jabril, this really will be a big week to kind of see how that goes about. I'm very hopeful. I think he's played at a high level. He's a tough man, one tough son of a gun, man. He's a great Florida State Seminole, man, a guy that has emerged to being I think a top player, not just on this football team, but a guy that should has played at a high level. Shamar, he's one of those guys I was just referencing, true freshman. It's kind of put himself in a position to be our third corner when Q went down. Really kind of forced him into a little bit more action. He was playing free safety there even before that because he's the guy we saw that I want to give him an opportunity to get on the field, and he's growing day by day. Now he is still a freshman, and he reminds us of that daily, through plenty of different areas. But he's somebody that I love coaching because he loves football. He loves the guys he gets to do it with, and I thought he played well. Still some detailed things that he's got to clean up, but I'm excited about that. And regarding Jabril of where that goes, it's still open door of opportunity. We need Charles Lester. I thought he did a good job. I think he got 8-10 plays in the game. he's starting to grow and grow in his confidence. Kai Bates is a guy that we need to see another step. We got to remember Kai transitioned from being a receiver for most of his life to DB his last year of high school, and there is a little bit of that transitional element to where he's still growing in his confidence and trusting some of the things that he's doing in coverage and just the big picture. But I do think he has talent and ability, and so just seeing those guys emerge. But hopeful that things will trend well for Jabril. But that's a young group that we have that I think is talented that has to answer the call.
In a couple of your responses, you've talked about young players, and so I guess two-part question is, do you feel like you have enough building blocks for 2026 and beyond with some of the young players? And if so, like who are the guys that give you confidence that this is continuing to move in a championship quality direction?
No, I've got a lot of confidence in that, and really, you look at our football team. Our O-line is senior driven, and that was something we knew coming in. But I'm really excited about some of the young guys we have in that room that will be able to emerge. But really, at every other position, it's underclassmen. That's a huge driving force to those rooms, and we've got some great seniors in different places. But this is a relatively young team. When you look at the production that is being had, it's across the board, and I'm excited about really every position of what it's going to be. I think the last two recruiting classes that we've been able to bring in, I think we've really done a nice job of the high school ranks, of guys that have come in that are growing, developing. Sam Singleton is a great picture of somebody that. It's just taking him a little bit of time, but he was 3 years ago, but it's taken him a little bit of time of coming in, but he is ascending rapidly, and then coupled with Ooze, who's a freshman. Cam Davis has kind of been banged up. I talked to Cam last night. I'm hopeful we can get him back for these next couple of games. He played a little bit special teams, but excited about just his growth. He's looked like the guy that I expected to have here coming in. He played as a freshman, but he's really I've loved his attitude, his approach. You can go across the board. The receivers, young receivers. I think we got elite level talent in that room. I think Mekhi Danzy will be as good as he wants to be. LaWayne McCoy is continuing to grow to get better. Unfortunately, we've had Boggs has been injured. We'll hopefully get him back here. I thought he was close last week. Chase Lofton, Tay Gelsey. Those guys. Mallory, Magic. he is like those guys are all. They're a push and a step for us, and for what they're going to be. I'm excited about that. You sit there, and there's some areas where we got to be better. You look at our entire defensive line. Those freshmen that we have are different. Mandrell Desir, Daryl. Daryl's playing more and more confident. Juju has got an incredible future in front of him, and then we have a couple other guys that I think will have a great chance as they continue to grow up. And that's part of this game and process. So there's definitely some positions that we have big needs for, but I'm excited about what the future is going to be and the guys that we have within this roster.
To keep going on with the young guys in an age where it seems bowl games don't matter as much, how important is it for you guys to win 2 of these last 3 to get to a bowl game and keep developing with those extra practices?
I think they absolutely matter. And we've faced some cases where guys opted out, and we've also had a case where guys all opted in to do it. And but the games are the games, and the opportunity to compete, the opportunity to grow, especially for the young guys. I think that the practices, the game, those are such valuable experiences for where they're going to continue to ascend to. And so, our sole focus is on this week, make sure that our best game shows up. But it is, you're definitely, we know the expectations for what's ahead this year and what we need to do.
All right, last one, Ira.
One last future question.
We had a few of those.
An eye to the future. Obviously, you guys have to win games, and that's the number one objective. But is there any thought to trying to look at the younger quarterbacks to see what they do in game situations?
Well, we've had that in the good and bad. We've seen we've had those opportunities. Like we've done that. I mean, they got to play. I think Brock, Kevin, those guys got to play in some early games. Kevin, got thrown in at the in the Stanford game, having in as critical of a situation as you can have. Brock has played a lot. Has played a lot of football, and unfortunately, both those guys have kind of dealt with some injury issues that have not been devastating, but kind of been restrictive a little bit. And and I love our starting quarterback. I mean, I think Tommy has he is just what he brings to our football team, as a player. I think he's played at an elite level at times, and then there's times where he's got plays that he's got to be better at. And what I love about him is he's the first to take ownership. He's the first to call himself to a higher level of what his expectation is. But he's going to continue to push those around him. And I think that when you see what he's done, I mean, I wouldn't steal one rep for what he means to this program and this team right now because of his work, because of his heart and care and all of it. And I mean, now if there's a play that he can't go and he's not in position, we're going to have guys that are ready. They're going to be ready to answer the call in their opportunities. But and we have a really good group in that room that I'm excited about. So, but for him, for Tommy, and what he's done, I'm definitely looking forward to his best games here in front of us, and just watching him continue to grow and be better.
Is Tommy at all in the plans for 2026? Is that a possibility?
That's things that are all being worked through. Obviously, he played the one game his freshman year, which was in the championship game, and so I know all that is being evaluated. The next year they changed the rule to where that was available, and he did that. Just in the case of the guy got hurt, and as much as he is right now, where he's willing to be, what a team needs, and trying to fit that. I mean, that's he answered the call in a tough situation that ultimately at that time made it challenging for the conversation that has to be had now. But the very next year, the NCAA changed the rule. So I mean, we'll see where all that goes. But it's kind of his situation. All right, thanks, Bill. Thank you.